Hello and welcome to a new edition of Eco Africa, DW's environmental magazine. My name is Sandra Twinoblio, and today we're going to look at how the sports world is starting to champion environmental causes.
That's right, we can all do something to help curb climate change and preserve nature. My name is Chris Alems. Great to have you with us. This time, we'll be looking at how trash left by tourists is frustrating islanders in Senegal. How activists in Ivory Coast are tackling waste and global warming. And how a traditional irrigation system can save farmers in Tunisia from suffering water shortages. Most of us tend not to associate sports with a drive to beat the climate crisis. But why not? It's all about teamwork, isn't it? The initiative Sports for Future allows athletes and fans to join together to support global environmental projects. How does it work? Let's take a closer look at one German-Nigerian initiative.
Soccer brings people together, even across continents. The students of Northern Anang Secondary School in Nigeria have linked up with professional footballers in Germany to help the environment.
Climate change is here with us. We're already at the front lines of environmental degradations. We have gone wrong. We have to take action by pulling people together to be part of the solutions.
Onyeme Robinson is an environmental activist in Akwa Ibom in southern Nigeria. Today, he's visiting a high school in the village of Utu. He tells the students about his Green School project that he developed for schools in rural areas. They're intrigued as he talks about what individuals can do for the environment. Many are hearing this for the first time, but soon catch on. Robinson aims to motivate and mobilize the students, making the environment a firm part of school life.
What the Green School Initiative is all about is for us to establish a conservation clubs in school. We want them to be the agent of the change because we know the children are very passionate about issues. So once they understand these issues, they are going to be the one to drive the message to the society.
After the lesson, the students head out to the soccer field. For many, that's an added incentive to join the conservation club. It also strengthens the group dynamic. Each club has its own sports team. Robinson's organization provides the schools with shirts and equipment and organizes small tournaments, mostly competing against environmental clubs at other schools. Next, it's time for the environment. Robinson and the students plant fruit trees, developing the school's very own forest. The students learn how to plant and take care of the trees so they can expand the forest later on their own, helping to mitigate the effects of climate change in their region.
We check on the trees activities once in a week. It has brought awareness to us to know more on how we can plant crops and protecting the environment from erosion.
Climate change has left its mark on the region, causing both floods and drought. The Green School project is designed to limit the damage and improve life here for the future.
The carbon CO2 emissions is everywhere. It's being polluted, the environment is being polluted through CO2. Trees absorb the CO2 and release oxygen to us. So tree is very important in climate change mitigation. It's one of the key frontline issues that are agitating.
But buying the saplings in large quantities is expensive. So the initiative is getting help from a German charity called Sports for Future. It enables individual athletes and clubs to support environmental projects in Africa. The Waldorf Mannheim Soccer Club has decided to sponsor the Green School project. Robinson keeps the Germans updated on how the project is progressing.
Now, beyond the specific student, of course, like I said, they are the chain maker. They are the one taking the message home. Of course, their parents are also.
The Mannheim Soccer Club plays in Germany's 3rd division. He doesn't earn the big bucks of top-flight football, but he wants to make a difference.
As a club, we have a big responsibility to the society. Through our funds and the project we do, we can help others. Education is key, and it is important to promote that in Africa.
Weiter fördern.
The club does that through its sale of soccer shirts, donating €3 for every jersey sold. The squad is playing well right now, and that's benefiting the Green Schools project. They've sold more than 7,000 shirts this season, producing a 5-figure sum to buy tree saplings in Nigeria.
Es sind natürlich einfach Einnahmen, die man generiert, die man nicht für
That's income that we've generated, but aren't using for ourselves. Maybe it means we'll buy one player less, but we knew we wanted to help where it's needed most.
benötigt wird.
The donations from Germany are also helping the commercial school in the small town of Uyo. It too has joined the Green Schools project. Unyime Robinson talks about his work and inspires the students to get involved. At this school, it's basketball that brings the group together. Ethel is a student here and president of the school's conservation club. She's discovered a passion for preserving nature and wants to pass that on to her fellow students.
You never can tell the fun that comes with watching what you plant grow. You might not realize it at the initial because of the stress that comes with watering, weeding, and adding fertilizers. But I tell you, there is no way you won't feel pride in telling someone, oh, that fruit you ate came from a tree I planted 6 years ago.
Onyime Robinson was once happy just to reach a few local schools with his project. Now he's getting requests from schools in other regions too. Thanks to the financial help from Germany, the project is steadily growing.
Through their support, we've been able to upscale this project to 20 schools. Our target is to cut across all the schools in the country, Nigeria. And we are hoping that in the next 5 years, we are going to hit this target.
An ambitious goal, but the German-Nigerian partnership is already very successful. The students of the Green Schools project have planted over 10,000 trees so far and counting.
What a terrific initiative. Clean green energy is a goal many countries are striving for. Another is getting rid of the trash that litters beaches, waterways and landscapes. Even when the source is obvious, finding solutions can still be challenging. Here is this week's Doing Your Bit, this time from Senegal.
Just 20 minutes off the coast of Dakar is the small island of Gorée. Its historical significance to the Atlantic slave trade and its beautifully maintained buildings make it a popular destination for day trippers. But many who come to enjoy this UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site fail to respect it. Piles of garbage litter the streets and rocky beaches. Mostly plastic bottles and remnants from picnics that visitors have left behind, much to the dismay of local residents.
Every day we witness the same behavior, people tossing plastic waste on the ground, even though there are 2 rubbish bins in front of every building. At times, the island welcomes 1,000 visitors a day, and they bring a lot of plastic, which they leave behind. We clean up every day, and every 2 days we transport 700 to 800 kilos of waste to Dakar.
In contrast, organic waste is now benefiting Goré's 1,500 residents. It helps keep their island green and generates a little income on the side.
To improve waste management, the island's town hall set up a system of sorting and composting to transform and get value from organic waste. The resulting compost is used to nurture the island's flora, or bagged and sold for a profit.
It's still not enough to solve all of Goré's garbage woes, though. The biggest help would be for visitors to take everything they bring to the island back home again when they leave.
And how about you? If you're also doing your bit, tell us about it. Visit our website or send us a tweet. #DoingYourBit. We share your stories.
Obviously, there is still a long way to go, but that's why we're here. Eco Africa often reporting things that need changing, and activists committed to making that change happen.
Yes, we do, Chris. And today we showcase 3 young people from Ivory Coast who devote their time and energy to curbing pollution and making the world a greener place. Let us learn how.
Abidjan, Ivory Coast's economic center, is undergoing a breathtaking transformation. Construction sites seem to be everywhere, and there are new entire districts appearing too. The city now has over 5 million inhabitants. Nature is disappearing, while pollution permeates the city. Yves Landry Kwame is one of a growing number of people taking action to ensure a healthier Abidjan. In his environmental blog, he writes about the huge problem of littering. What scares me is that we'll reach a point where we can no longer do anything for the environment. The blogger feels that ignorance too threatens the environment. He hopes that his documentary work will raise awareness and motivate people.
More
than 50% of the population of Ivory Coast is not really literate. So, a big population like that is not very aware of the environmental protection issues, ecological issues, the link between their activities and the consequences that they may be on their planet, or that there may be for their own health. Could at least a part of this waste be recycled? What looks like real stone is actually recycled plastic. Edith Kwasi herself developed the concept. During her master's studies in environment and plastic waste management, she asked herself how she could help solve Abidjan's garbage problem in concrete terms.
I checked everywhere to see what we can do with plastic waste, especially in Ivory Coast, and the means that we have at our disposal. I discovered that there are physical products available, such as paving stones, bricks, and many other things, such as granules.
And they are in big demand. One hotel has had its driveway paved with recycled plastic bricks. Edith Kwasi founded her own company in 2019, and now she has 7 employees. She's convinced that young entrepreneurs like her can bring about change in Abidjan.
If other young people get involved in green entrepreneurship, we will be able to make Ivory Coast, and even our African continent, a world that works to reduce atmospheric pollution. It involves the ecological impact and promoting a green city and an ecological city.
And that's what these students at Abidjan's university do. They are planting 30 trees on campus, and that's just the beginning. A synergy of actions is needed to address environmental degradation. Samuel Conan organized the activity. He heads the Geography Students' Union here. They received the trees for free from a state company aligned with the Ivorian Environment Ministry, and he hopes to plant even more trees. In a few years, we won't be here, but those who come after us should really be able to enjoy the same conditions that we did. The Kumasi district in southeastern Abidjan is a concrete wasteland. Now the mayor has started to re-green some avenues. Samuel Conan and Edith Kwasi see this as a good sign. They are not alone in their efforts for a greener city.
Our next report takes us to Spain, to the Ebro Delta, the largest wetland area in the western Mediterranean region. It is home to a vast variety of plant and animal species. Here too, climate change is upsetting nature's delicate balance. And while the government is looking for ways to keep future damage to a minimum, some proposals have angered the local farmers. They could end up losing both their livelihoods and their land.
This is where his neighbor's holiday home once stood, says Jose Juan Soribes. Today, all that's left is a pile of rubble. The house was destroyed in a devastating winter storm. Storms like these have become increasingly common. Sorribes says such weather events demonstrate the drastic impact of climate change on Spain's Ebro Delta.
Both the storms and the authorities in action are harming us. They won't let people in the Ebro Delta protect their land.
Locals are growing desperate. Extreme weather events and rising sea levels have eroded the coastline, leaving little more than this strip of land near the mouth of the Ebro. It's the last line of defense between the sea and the countless rice paddies that lie inland. The Spanish government wants to nationalize over 800 hectares of privately owned land to turn it into an additional buffer zone. But the plan angers local rice farmers. Sorribes fears he could lose half his crops, and it's not clear what sort of compensation he would receive in return. Though, like most of the farmers, he's not only concerned about financial losses.
This is emotional. In many cases, rice fields have been passed down through many generations. I worked very hard to get mine. The government's plan doesn't bode well for the Delta. In fact, it will destroy the Delta and our values.
But not everyone opposes the government's plan. Environmentalists regard the Delta as one of Europe's most important wetlands. Over 300 bird species inhabit the region. Sofia Rivaez runs a private bird sanctuary. She doesn't like the idea of piling up tons of sand or dumping breakwaters in the sea, as farmers are demanding.
When we turned the entire delta into rice paddies, the mentality was to exploit nature to the absolute fullest. Now it's time for change, and not everyone is happy about it. But scientists say natural solutions are better suited at reducing the effects of climate change.
For some time, environmental groups have been protesting against another related problem. The Ebro River is carrying hardly any sediment into the delta. That's because dozens of dams further upriver are keeping the mud back. And mud is what the delta is made of. At this rally, demonstrators symbolically pour soil into the river to highlight that without natural sediments, the delta will be at even greater risk from climate change.
It will be extremely difficult to offset the effects of climate change, specifically flooding and loss of land. It's crucial that we restore the ecological function of the river.
Rice farmer Sorribes and his friends don't agree. They don't want to spend years waiting for the river to bring sediments back to the delta. They want their government to take action now. Locals are divided over how to deal with the threat of climate change and the eroding Ebro Delta. By the time environmentalists, farmers and the government reach a consensus, it may be too late. The next winter storm is always just around the corner.
Staying on the subject of water, Tunisia's coastal region is the demographic and economic backbone of the country. An important share of its export-oriented, irrigated agriculture is concentrated in the coastal zones. But the country faces severe water shortages due to the effects of climate change. Farmers and other residents are desperate for a solution. Now, a traditional system that uses seawater to grow fruit and vegetables could provide an answer.
Growing potatoes here is only possible for Ali Garci thanks to a centuries-old farming method known as ramli, which means on sand. It's unique to this sandy region surrounded by salt water on Tunisia's north coast. Arab settlers returning from Andalusia in the 17th century set up small plots along a saltwater lagoon near the town of Ghar el Mel. Ali Garci, a retired teacher and farmer's son, has long fought to keep this farming tradition alive. It relies on the tides to water the crops.
The salt water comes in from the Mediterranean with the tide. Once it reaches a certain level, it pushes the thin layer of fresh water up through the firm sandy substrate to reach the roots of the crops. We know that fresh water weighs less, so it always stays above the salt water. So only the fresh water reaches the roots of the crops. The fresh water comes from rainfall in the hills, and that's how the plants are irrigated. We never water them from above. We wouldn't be able to. We don't have any wells here or reservoirs.
Ali Garci is preparing furrows ready to plant potatoes. Each plot of land is no more than 4 meters wide and is surrounded by reeds to protect it from wind and erosion. The natural irrigation system allows the farmers to grow crops all year round. No additional watering is required. And there are other advantages too. No pesticides are needed. The salty soil is a natural deterrent for most pests. The farmers can produce up to 20 tons of potatoes, beans, or onions per hectare each year. The vegetables are highly prized for their unique taste. But all the work has to be done by hand. It's tough going, and many farmers have given up. Zora Nafef has come to see Ali Garci. She's the president of the local Farming and Fisheries Association. She spent 2 years working to get the Ramli method certified by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization as a globally important agricultural heritage system.
Certification is a key step in upgrading the value of the produce. It will allow farmers to sell it in major supermarkets for a higher price, with a label like the one for other organic food. It's the only way to encourage the farmers to keep going. After all, this is organic food, and it's more expensive to produce than with conventional farming.
More money is one thing. Another is the need to protect the ecosystem on which the farms rely. Farmers, engineers, and scientists meet to discuss how Tunisia's water supply can be managed more sustainably. Ali Garci takes the opportunity to present the virtues of the Ramli system. He's hoping international organizations like the Worldwide Fund for Nature can help protect the region's unique ecosystem.
People really need to understand that all unregulated development is harmful to the surrounding ecosystem. This area benefits from lots of water inlets, both from the sea and land. But increasingly, these are being compromised, mainly due to changes in the way the land is used. People are building on land that is not suitable for building. It's a huge challenge, and we are working with all those involved, especially the Tunisian government and the state, to explore possible solutions.
The acceleration of climate change, along with unregulated urban sprawl and growing tourism infrastructure along the coast, have all affected the area. Now, the water no longer reaches all of the Ramli plots at high tide.
When they built the road right through the middle of the lagoon, it was obvious that water coming in from the sea to the lagoon would be blocked. When we complained, the authorities agreed to dig channels under the road to let the water through. But very little water gets through, and that's affected the whole ecosystem on which our farms depend.
Apart from stopping such building projects, Zora Nafef wants to know what else could help motivate young people to take up this traditional farming method.
We're trying to encourage the farmers not to sell their plots. We arrange training courses to show them how they can adapt to the new situation. We're organizing workshops together with the Worldwide Fund for Nature and the UN Development Program. We also give the people subsidies to encourage them to keep farming.
The potatoes from Ali Garci's plot show the work is worthwhile. He's hoping to persuade the 300 other farmers in the region to hold fast to the Ramli tradition and preserve their heritage.
We've run out of time for today. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to check in with us on all our social media platforms. For now, I am Sandra Twinoblio saying bye-bye from Kampala here in Uganda.
It's also time for me to bid farewell from here in Lagos. Hope our show inspired you to find ways in which you too can support climate action. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Till then, stay safe.